Welcome to Unscripted with Jeff Pedowitz. I sit down with remarkable people from very different worlds, security and science, business and medicine, technology and the arts, for honest conversations about AI and where it's taking us. No scripts, no talking points, just what they actually think. I'm Jeff Pedowitz. Let's get into it.
Everyone has a hot take on AI and learning. My guest today has the actual science. Dr. Sarah Chardonnens is a professor at the University of Freiburg in Switzerland with a PhD in the science of how humans learn, and she spent her career on a question that matters to every parent, teacher, and leader right now. Does AI actually make us smarter or just make us feel smarter? Her book, The Learning Revolution, argues that AI can be an amplifier of human ability, but only if we understand how learning actually works, and she warns it can just as easily flatten our thinking. So that's where I wanted to go. What is AI really doing to our minds? Sarah, welcome to Unscripted, and let's get into it.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be
Hello.
here.
And first of all, thank you so much. So we are recording this on a Friday, and it's 10 o'clock back in Sarah's time. So very, very grateful.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Jeff.
So you've been teaching for a while. You've been writing for a while. Is there a belief that you have long held, but that you recently changed?
Because of the involving of AI, we could think, that better technology does not automatically produce better learning. And that's the problem maybe with this AI implementation. I can speak in my point of view as an educator, a teacher's trainer. So it's difficult to keep control because the impact on the society is very big. And it begins with each individual's brain. So when you use an LLM, you can have a very good output, fluent and convincing. But we know that you have between 16% of errors in the basic questions till 60-70% of complex tasks. You can have errors. So it's a quite big difference between the result we have and the impression that we have that's so fluently. So I think we need to, for the school, for society and policy, we cannot adapt so quickly as the development and the AI capabilities develops. And that's a big problem, yeah.
And you see this firsthand as you're teaching and you're shaping the minds of these students. Where have you seen AI degrade critical thinking, and where have you seen it help? I mean, how do you adapt your approach with the students and how they're using these tools?
I mean, it depends of the learner, because it can be an amplifier or it can be dangerous. We have both. We have benefits and risks, and it depends of the learner and the expertise and how AI is used. So, I mean, expert can challenge AI, detect errors, extend the performance, be becoming better. And novice first need to build their own learning and knowledge, and they need to formate the brain, with neural connection and intellectual architecture. So if you use too much AI without be aware of this danger, it could be difficult. So I think AI can help in every phase when we use it at the right moment of the process of learning. So that's my job. The last years I was working on this. What is the impact? What are the risks and the benefits?
So you're a learning scientist, you're a trained concert musician, and you're also a martial artist. How have those helped shape how you think about humans learning, how they actually learn?
Yeah, that's a good question, but also complicated because it's not going to be easy to explain all my my life. I mean, if we take a child, whatever it is, a growing child is shaped by family, by temperament, by his character, the environment, social, friends, the education in the school system, and also activities like hobbies, if you play tennis, and all that helps the child to grow up. And children first learn with curiosity, discovery. They are very in a play mindset, playing and try. And I thought I had this as a child because I was with music at home. I had several music instruments, so I could practice it. And it was just a game. It was playing music, clarinet or piano or flute or guitar. It was just to play. And after that, I began to make connections between emotion and the practicing and concentration. So, music helps me a lot to learn discipline, to learn training, and to focus on something. And it's also, it was for me a challenge to be a virtuoso with my instrument, to try what can I improve, what can I do it in a best way. And it was like a competition with myself to be quick, that's like a technical mastery, and it creates freedom of expression because it's a language, universal language. You can express yourself with a music instrument and without words, but like a richer vocabulary because everyone can understand it. And that was very important in my mind, I think in my brain too, the emotional, the cognitive, and the body training too. And karate, it develops a lot of discipline. You need to know when you have tension or you are relaxed. You have a better body awareness. And also you need to have perseverance. You need to practice and to go with when it hurts, you go one step, one more, and you try in this discomfort. And this is very interesting to shape the brain too. So yeah, that's it.
It's no wonder why you're so accomplished. There are so many people that have opinions on AI and education. But you are a scientist. So what does the actual science say that the loudest voices are getting wrong?
Yeah. The debate is not so simply pro AI versus anti AI. Both have benefits and risks. What I've seen in the research is that we have clearly a cognitive erosion when learners over-rely on large language model, for example. And the main problem, I think, is the mismatch in speed. Tools evolve very fast, very, very, very fast, and faster than research and faster than publication, and to explain the result and to give the information to the public, it takes time. And that's the big problem, I think. Maybe we should develop a scientific task to make a task force to translate the scientific things to everyone, for policymakers, for school, for politicals, for public. And this is very important. But scientific people are in their office, and behind the computer and writing, and they don't think in another way.
You're also a parent too, right?
Yeah.
And so I it's understandable, but emotion, I think, drives a lot of parental decisions, not necessarily always data and science or fact. Because we all care about the well-being of our children, and we all want them to be well educated, and we have very strong opinions on what that needs to be. I think we all want the same outcome, right? We want our kids to get a good education, but unless we are teachers ourselves or have an understanding, we don't. The only framework we have is how we were taught, right? Combined with whatever values we share with our partner. Beyond that, we don't. So I think there does need to be more effort made to connect the science with parents, because they don't have the framework to then make the best decision.
Yeah, that's a point. I was trying to make a AI literacy publication last week, and there is a big need in industries, in schools. Teachers are lost, and it's very difficult. That's a fact.
It's I think worldwide it's very difficult to be an educator. It's a calling. Our son is going into education. He just got his master's, and he's going over to Japan to teach English for a year. So it's very exciting. But yeah, I think there's a lot of things that you have to contend with, and there's a lot of things you don't have control over, because you're working within the system. There's rules. You have to deal with the parents. There's a lot of things and standards, and all you want to do is teach, right? And now we have AI, which sort of upsets the apple cart. But does AI actually make us smarter, or does it make us feel smarter while we're quietly losing the skill?
It depends on the learner. I mean, we know well with studies that when an expert use AI, is going to challenge it and to reflect it with old way to use it. And young people, novice, first need to build their own learning system and knowledge. And it's difficult. So we mean to develop autonomy, to be chief of your own learning processes and cognitive strong. So I don't think that we are not going to be smarter. I think we should be careful and try to find the right way. Maybe, I don't know, but education must identify what humans still need to learn to remain autonomous and cognitively strong. But I don't know what the future is. It's very difficult for all educators and philosophers. That's like a philosophical question, because I mean, reading, writing, mathematics, that remain essential, because we need to format, to configure our brain. So it's the reason why we learn something at school, but we don't see the impact and the reason as a result in the few weeks. It needs several weeks, and this is the way you evolve that makes your brain growing up, and then you become experts when you have more than 10,000 practice hours. I think it's something like that. So intelligence also includes metacognition, the judgment. You know what you want to do. You are thinking about your own processes, your own thinking. That's a responsibility of a human being. And the self-knowledge and to have respect in social with other people, to listening to the other and try to understand the other one. This is about social competence, what we call maybe soft skills. But I don't know. It's really, really, we should speak again in 50 years.
Okay. I mean, you're talking a lot. I mean, you talk about your own personal education with karate and music, about the struggle and the effort and the work to get to that next level. But you've developed a synapse model, right, that treats AI as an amplifier, not a substitute. So, but isn't there a real fear though, that if AI gives you the answer, then you're skipping that productive struggle? So that's actually building the skill that you does need to learn. Is that fear well founded?
Yeah. When the first LLM came out in 23, I remember I was in a conference and all educators said, oh, fool, it's dangerous, be careful. But we cannot go. My reaction was to think about this. And I was in this metacognitive research, and I thought, okay, how does it evolve? What's the future of this? And that's the reason why I developed this synapse model, because I wanted to understand, first step, what does intelligence mean? what does education mean? And if we understand this, we can define a model to explain what the human, the child, needs to learn and to develop in a school system or in education in general. So my model, Synapse, describes the learn processes in 4 phases. I don't know, I'm going to tell to explain a little bit, or what do you want?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So you have sensory input, network adaptation, participation, and storage and embodiment. And each letter called synapse. That's the reason why. And in the middle of this model, you have the motivational dynamics that explain the competencies, a feeling you have, the failures you have had, the experience, or what you have as need. And all this motivation is very complex. Scientifically, you have a lot of authors and publication. It's a big topic. And so when someone learns something, it's not a child, it can be everyone, because we learn all our life long. So when you learn, you have at the beginning, that's the sensory input phase, it's lightning, you make links with something you know already. And that's the first step in the learn processes. And if you use AI on this step, it could destroy this moment, because LLM could give you too much information, and you are overwhelmed with this information, and you cannot have a control, and you cannot make choices and know this is important, this is not, if you don't have expertise in the field. The second phase is the network adaptation. It means to learn, you need to practice. You need to make errors, to think about these errors and to try again. And it needs time, and you need to struggle. And the effort, the learning process happens only when you are making an effort. And when you ask a LLM to give you a text about something, it's just it's not from you. It's just a product and a result. It's not the processes. And the third phase, that's the participation. It means that's like a control tower of your own learning. When you learn, you need to take a step back and say, oh, I'm tired, I need to take a nap, or drink a coffee, or oh, I tried this strategy, but it's not good, it doesn't work, I need to try differently, or I'm going to ask the teacher or friend of mine. So that's the way you can manage your own learning. And this is very important. And that is where the AI cannot interact, not really, but with chatbot. And
Sarah, we live in a world of immediate gratification, satisfaction, right? We want it now. We want to stream now. We want email now. We want to get it. Yeah, we don't want to wait. We want to buy it. So I agree with you. I think learning has to be a disciplined path. But then how do you balance that with someone like, well, I don't want to do all that hard work. I can get the answer right now. The temptation is overwhelming, not just in regular school, but in the workforce as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, teachers should be aware of this and explain this to the students. And that's a responsibility of the individual. We need to be informed how we learn, what are the impacts. Because it's like drink alcohol or too much sugar. It's not good for your body, and you know it, but it's nice to drink alcohol, maybe a glass of wine or something like something sweet to eat, of course, but that's the proportion of poison, that you can have. And I think LLMs are good, amazing things. You can have a very good and productive results if you have some repetitive task. why not? Of course, it's useful and we should use it. And also I've made some tried with Claude, for example. It's amazing what you can develop and think about. And if you ask question, it's really, really good. But for children, it's important to be aware of this.
So we've talked a lot about the downsides and if it's not used well. Where is it amplifying? Like, where are some hard examples where you have seen it amplify when it's used properly?
Once again, I think it can amplify when you know what you want. You need to think about it before and ask a question, and then you look what comes out from the LLMs, for example. It can help you to frame the problems, or you can evaluate outputs and make choice, and I think it's very, very, very good. And
can you provide a specific example where it is actually doing that?
Yes, for example, I put all my didactic knowledge to teach teachers about how to build one lesson in an AI system, closed. And I have a lot of sources with references, competencies, skills, how to build, all about education and teacher learnings. And then I give that to my students, and they are future teachers. So they are learning to become teacher. And I've said, you think about a lesson you want to give, you explain this in the LLM, in the surface, and then the platform can help you ask question and redefine or improve your lesson. And it works really very well, because they are going to make experience between practice exercises they have tried in classroom and the system and the theoretical knowledge, but the struggling, the effort is made by the brain of the students or teacher. And this is a very, very good tool, for example. Was I clear? It's okay.
Okay. I could see certainly how it helps the educator in planning and facilitating. On the student side, though, how is AI helping the student amplify?
For students, I think it's not about the result, but about the processes. The problem is when you have a student, he wants to do a student job. It means I need to give my test, I need to pass my exam, I need to get my credits to become what I want to be. And it's all about diploma and exam and in reality, we should focus more on the process. And in an ideal world, I would say, I take an example of a teacher who wants to invite the children should write on a topic against or for something, and they need to make a dissertation, to think about a topic and to find arguments to speak about this topic. And the first step is the students should be able to do it by himself, alone, without AI. He put a few words, and then he go with the LLMs, he challenge the AI, he can try with several things, and then make choice and discuss these choices. And all these processes about interaction between children and the machine is going to be very useful to understand what are the processes to arrive to a result, a text, for example. And at the end, of course, the students could be ask ChatGPT or copy and paste and just write it down. But we need to evaluate this and speak with him, to ask question and not just write it down. And if you ask question, you can have an interaction with the student minds, and it's better. So it's quite a game changer. We have other rules as teacher, and for students also, it's difficult for them.
I guess from my perspective, I want to teach the student how they can interact with it so the output's even greater, right? So there's it's well documented, right? Watson's chess engine built the Grandmaster champion back in the late 80s. And then for almost 25 years, no Grandmaster was ever be able to beat the machine again. And then a couple of years ago, they started organizing tournaments where it's Grandmaster plus AI against Grandmaster plus AI. And what they were finding is after thousands of years of the game of chess being played, for the first time, they were actually coming up with new ways and strategies of playing that were never tried before, because it's the creativity of the human combined with the intellectual processing of the machine. So I view that in education as a similar thing. Like, okay, if I give the student an assignment and they put it into AI and AI spits it out and they turn it back in and they do anything, okay, that's an F. You didn't apply yourself at all. Like, that's not amplifying. That's cheating, basically. But if you fed it in and you started interacting with it, you challenged it. I want to show me your creativity. What questions did you ask? What additional research? How did it change your thinking and assumption? What did you end up with as a result? Okay, now that's how you amplify, because you're learning how to think critically if you're given the time to think critically versus just using it as a shortcut.
So,
but you're the expert. You tell me.
I mean, we need to keep the human in the loop. I think the capacity of reading, reasoning, calculating, writing, and show the process is very important. And the AI literacy, it's we have a paradigm change in this school and education, and also in industries. If you want to upskilling your people or your employees, we should develop some fitness room for brains, because when we had the revolution in 18, you know what I mean, the industrial revolution in Europe. Yes. With machines and all that stuff. It was very very difficult for people to, and after that they began to, because they didn't make less effort with body, they needed to do sport, and the sport begins to be everywhere. So like fitness rooms for people, as a reaction, it's more a joke, but as a reaction to this industrial revolution. And because the machine replaces the effort physically. Yeah. And now we have the same with the brain, and it's tricky because it's our cognitive capabilities, and it's very dangerous because it's the thing we have that can directly, the language is linked with our thought. And when we want to explain something, we try to find right words, and this is shaping your mindset. And if you use AI, you become answers of the system, and this is going to interact with your own thinking. You know what I mean? So it's like a hybrid system, machine and human, and it's very interesting, but also difficult to manage, I think.
I mean, if AI does end up doing more of the cognitive work, what's the one human capacity we most need to keep training on purpose?
What's the most? Sorry, I didn't catch.
What do we, if you were just talking about the concern, right? If AI now takes over cognitive capability, because it did, and the same way industrial did physical, what do we actually have to keep training humans on? Like, what's the thing where we hold on to?
for me, I think, and with the research I've explored, I think the essential capacity is human agency to keep your own processes, and it means to keep your own attention, the judgment you have and action you take. So of course we can delegate repetitive tasks, and it's very good to define goals with AI, but at the end of the day you need to be able to manage your own judgment and keep human in this loop. I think I'm convinced about this. Yes.
So what's the future of human learning you're most worried we're sleepwalking into, and the one that you're most hopeful about?
The greatest concern, I think it's this is the it's so quick. It develops so quick, the tools, the AI, and we are not quick in our brain. We need time to adapt, and this is the biggest concern I have. And maybe we can also take less time to practice things that are not so useful. That's the opportunity to think about a new education system and what do we need for the future. It could also help to develop strategies and to be in a high level to think about our own processes. So maybe it helps too. Yeah, I don't know. It's difficult.
And what are you most hopeful about?
What I think this hybrid semiotic system, we are interacting with machine. It's not new, but we need to have control of this and not be passive in these processes. I mean, to learn, you need to be, that's neuroscientifically based. To learn, you need to be attentive. Your attention, the focus on the task you want. You need to be active, to practice, to try, to struggle, to do effort. You need to have a right feedback immediately, because if you are learning, if you learn, you have some doubts. You are not sure. Oh, is that right? Oh, no. And if you can have a feedback immediately, it's better to learn, to encoding the thing. And the last one I would say is the consolidation, to drill and to develop some automatism. Because if you don't have some consolidation of your learn processes, if you cannot cook, for example, something, you cannot build a new recipe of cooking. You need a basic thing to build new knowledge on this basic thing. And that's the difficulty, with LLMs. If we ask AI about result, we do not process it and struggling, and then you don't have the capability or the skills to develop your own learning. I have two boys, they are 18, 19 years old, and it's very funny to speak with them. And sometimes once Nicola told me, hey, what should I learn this at school? It doesn't make sense for me. I can Google it and it's done. And I said, okay, yeah, but what's the impact of this? If you Google it, you don't have it in mind, and maybe this information on this way to think is important. And I come back again to this metacognition, to think about thinking.
Okay.
And we can do it with young children. We can begin with 6, 7 years old children with this. What are you doing to learn? What do you want to learn? How? Do you know who can help you? And this way to manage your own learning, shape the mindset to use AI after that. And it's not just AI gives answers and results, but you need to develop this process, learning process. And that's the purpose of my synapse model.
So closing it out, What are you paying attention to right now that most people aren't yet?
Maybe that's what happens before, during, or after the interaction with AI. Why do you use AI? What are your goals? What you want to define? What do you want to use? And during the AI interaction, to be aware of, oh, it's too much information, or I'm using it too much, or it does. I'm going to comment on dit, se perdre. I lost my way. You don't know where to go. And after that, when you have used AI, you can say, okay, what can I explain to my friend without the machine? What can my brain produce? And this is important. So I think this is the three things: before, during, and after, to think about this.
Sarah, thank you so much for being on and doing it so late in the evening, but it's easy to see your passion. So thank you for doing everything you're doing.
Thank you very much for this invitation, Jeff.
All right, we'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.